Is Basil the SLPP's last leader? The media reported that Ranil will appoint new governors to 4 provinces upon his return from the UK, where he attended the coronation of King Charles III. The presidential secretariat has told the incumbents in the western, northwestern, northern and eastern provinces to resign. That means the appointment of governors has taken priority over the SLPP's call for a cabinet reshuffle. Reports say UNP General Secretary Palita Rangebandara, Navin Disanayaka and Daya Gamge are to be appointed as governors. What is going to happen is the replacement of pro-SLPP governors with Ranil's men. It is unlikely these appointments will take place in agreement between Ranil and the SLPP. Ranil seems to have 2 objectives. One is to cut Basil down to size and the other is to couple it together with the reforming of UNP. That is because its general secretary position falls vacant if Range Bandara becomes a governor. Range does not qualify for that position. Ranil may begin the party's reforms by leaving that position vacant. Recently, he appointed a committee to make a new constitution for the United National Party. Whoever the person is, the next general secretary's foremost responsibility will be to build a strong vision for the UNP, to build a liberal UNP. The likely contenders are Ravi Karunanayaka, Sagala Ratnayaka and Akila Karyavasam. Not just in the UNP, but many other political parties are having internal reforms. It is good that parties reform themselves, but that should happen for social development. Some days ago, the SLPP had a strange sort of reform. If it wants to continue as a political party, the SLPP needs to reform itself. There should be a change in its leadership of the Rajapakshas. Also, Rajapaksa henchmen like Sagara should be thrown out. Anyway, the SLPP had 2 funny sorts of reforms. One was Waturavala Dhammaratana Thera's appointment as its chairman. That was the work of Mahinda. He stopped Basil from appointing his own henchmen to the post. Then Basil was promoted on May Day as the new leader of the SLPP. That was not official at all and was ineffective. Basil's promotion as the leader is illegitimate. Already there are objections from within the SLPP. Raterala is saying with responsibility that it will be the end of the SLPP if Basil becomes its leader. That means he will be the last leader of the SLPP because nothing of the party will be left under him. The SJB is a party that has seen no changes and runs according to the wishes of Sajid and Jalani. The SJB had a good opportunity to reform itself. At one time, Sajid had all the assets needed for that. People like Patali, Fonseca, Welgama, Harin, Manusha, Rajitha, Vaduvel. Also, the Tamil and Muslim parties were with him. Now the SJB is an old-fashioned party just like the SLPP. In short, it has become a birthright of Sajid and Jalani. Considering what had happened in the SLFP recently, it also is a party that needs proper reforms. Today, the SLFP is basically a collection of conspiracies. Vaterala is saying with responsibility that the blame for that goes to Dayasiri Jayasekara and Tilanga Sumatipal. Maitri is without a backbone to face it straight. Vaterala does not think that Dayasiri will last very long as the SLFP's General Secretary and Tilanga as the UPFA's General Secretary. If no true reforms take place, the SLFP cannot go forward as a party. It will be the party's end of the journey. People are still clueless about what actually the NPP and the JVP are. The JVP has its socialist approach to continue with, but the NPP never appears on behalf of socialism. It calls for liberal reforms. Then how can the JVP and the NPP balance their objectives? The JVP claims the NPP to be its mass movement. That cannot be. The two differ in their objectives. At every decisive juncture, the NPP gets thrown out and the JVP takes its place. If the NPP is the JVP's mass movement, it is a complete failure. The NPP failed to give leadership to the goal-face struggle. It failed to give leadership to the struggles that followed by trade unions, farmers, and students. Therefore, both parties will never see any sort of reform. They will remain the same forever. You know that Patali too is trying to form a new party. He left the Jatika Hela Urumaya suddenly and formed the 43rd Brigade. Attempts are being made to form a Republican Party in the country. Raterala has a question whether forming new parties is important to the country's politics any longer. Anyway, Raterala will be closely following the role of the Republican Party. It is unclear yet as to which social sphere will be joining forces with Patali. So far, those who had started off with Patali have left him. No social movement has been created to take forward the social responsibility that came up with the Goldface struggle. The void for a political movement capable of fulfilling that responsibility remains there. These outdated beliefs, outdated parties, and outdated individuals cannot implement the socio-economic and political reforms required by the country. They should either be in place through persons with new beliefs and responsibilities, or else a newly created force should make use of that opportunity. Raterala is in agreement with party reforms, but such reforms should give life to uplift the country's society, economy, and politics. If not, those will create conditions for yet another people's struggle only. The country has no use of party reforms that cover up the nudity of family nepotism and political elitism. Such reforms will not be accepted by the people either. That's it for now. Goodbye. Jai Sri. Sincerely, Raterala.